All right, we start with part one, problem 5 of our homework 2. In this case, we're going to talk about the output logic, the palletizing part. What we have right here, first I want to say I'm just showing progressively how to build the model towards a proper solution. Um, we talk about that uh, the more detail in the next video. So here you just build a basic model. In order to palletizing before the sink, I'm going to uh, basically delete this, move the sink in the back. Um, First, I'm using a transfer node to divert the divert the flow. Okay, using a connector right here. We have two different ways. One way is the red jobs to get palletized, and the other one is the other jobs going to get palletized with a two palletizer. So what we have is actually, let's do the combiner. Okay, probably two around here. And here we call the red palletizer. Okay, and we just leave it like that for now, and I'm ready to talk about. Here we have another pass, for example, go from here to the palletizing. So the entity goes from the transfer node, goes to the red palletizer to ready to be combined with the pallet. So we need to have some kind of source. Okay, we call it a red pallet to generate a pallet coming in here. Okay, and also I want to direct possibly the other jobs into one of those two combiners. To do that, we need one extra transfer node, um, to get the path from here to ready to that. Okay, meaning if it's a red entity, we're going to go this way. If it's the other entity, we're going to go that way. Since we have two separate entities going on. Of course, here we're going to first using link weight. One of the link weight is started using this is red job. Red supposed to be entity. I'm sorry. Entity red job. If it's a red job entity, okay, I'm going to go that way. If it's other job entity, of the other job, regular job, I'm going to go this way. All right. And then I'm going to have two connector connect each one of those to the child portion, member portion of the combiner. And on the top, basically, are the pallet generator. Need to get another source over here, for example, and we call it source pallet 1. Okay, connected to the parents. So the pallet is going to come over and then combine with the, and both of these go to the sink. All right. For the red job, we're going to do a little bit trick right here. Since we want to simulate every 30 minutes on the average coming back to repalletizing. So here, the source of the red job pallet, I'm going to increase this is what we call a red pallet. We already used this name. Okay. I'm going to use red pallet. Okay. Of course, color to red, for example. And he's going to generate the pallets over. For this, for the entire palletizing process, I'm using, for example, just one of the pallets. So I'm going to make the source only generate one pallet only. Okay, we're going to reuse that pallet. So therefore, every time I finish palletizing, and I'm going to using a separator corresponding. So this is the separator, and the member who gets separated go into the sink of red job. So here is the sink, red job, and we're ready to collect statistic on here if we need to. But the pallet itself, the parents, actually goes to sorry, we're using a time path. Okay, the time path goes, send the pallet back to the parents, and the time path travel distance is basically the 30 minutes problem specified based on exponential distribution of 30 minutes. Okay, so that means after palletizing, we move forward to the next stage. We separate them. This one don't have any processing time, so immediately they got separated, and then we reuse the pallet over and over again, and the travel time is 30 minutes, meaning every time the pallet is done, it's sent back to the pallet station to get. For this combiner, we have regular 10 as is problem specified. Okay. For the other ones, actually, these two are common 5. All right. And also they have processing time, logic. The processing time is followed. Uniform distribution between 8 to 10 minutes. And the red palette is about 12 to 15 minutes. Okay. And here what we have is we have two palletizer. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to duplicate one of these as well. I'm going to create an entity as palette called other palette. Okay, the other palette match with those. So here we're going to call other palette. This is the same. I'm going to call other palette. Over here is generate web palette. Okay, and this is connected to this parent. Same thing over here, generate other palette based on on the specific. Okay, and these two, how we're going to do this? Of course, this we can use as every time the palette is done, then we're going to send another palette in. So what do we, instead of using inter-arrival time to generate the palette for other type, we're going to base on a invent. And what is the invent actually? Whenever, every time there is a palette, leave this combiner, I'm going to generate another palette. So actually is the output node of combiner 2, output node combiner 2, enter. The moment the output nodes of the combiner, there is something coming over here, and then we generate another palette. Same thing for this. Instead of using inter-arrival time, I'm going to generate these based on event. Again, it's the output node for combiner 3, enter. So we're going to generate a new palette. And as a problem stated, we probably need to take care of actually it takes about 5 minutes to come over. Let me see. I think so. Yeah. It takes within 5 minutes. So this is part, I'm using the connector. You can probably convert it into a time pad and make sure it is around travel time is random and uniform within 5 minutes. How do we do that? Basically 0 to 5 minutes. Okay, so this is what we can do for that. So we basically show you the majority of problem 5. Here's the things actually we need to discuss. In this particular hint, we don't including any of the so-called 45 minutes dwell time, which means the palette wait for 45 minutes. If not getting enough red entity, automatically move on. Uh, that's a pretty involved part. We give you some hint in the class. I'm not going to illustrate this in your in the video. Actually, I have a separate video just for that. So we conclude this section, problem 5, and give you some head start how to start approaching problem number 5.